I am so lucky to be joined by Victor, aka Goshfather. Today, I was thinking about who to do as my first interview for my Point Four Cents, and I was like, I have all these successful friends. I have all these people. I'm like, you know what? Let's get out of my comfort zone and talk to somebody I've not actually talked to. And all of a sudden, this long flowing hair and glasses came before me in my imagination. And I was like, I think I know who to do. So I sent a DM and you were down. So to give everybody an idea, Goshfather makes disco house. He's flying around playing EDCs. He has songs with millions of streams, creating music constantly, playing it live. I know this is a life a lot of you want, and he's been so good at telling the story of how he got here online. So I wanted to get a big old interview where we get into all of that. So, Victor, I could not be more excited to have you.
Thank you, Jesse. I feel it's funny because you were saying let me get out of my comfort zone and interview somebody that I haven't. But I feel like I've spoken to you for hours. Like I literally no. I've listened. I've watched so much of your content. Like I used to go to the gym and just autoplay all your shit and just. I would have this thing where I would like take notes down on my notepad on my notes on in Apple Notes, and like anytime you'd say something I'd be like, okay, I got to try that. So I've watched so much of your stuff. I send so much of my stuff to a lot of your friends through the years, through COVID, through everything. Like you really have like a great you kind of really see the matrix. You kind of just, and you also have a way of like saying shit to people where it's kind of like, hey, it's a suggestion, but also like, please fucking do this, otherwise you're screwed kind of thing, because times are changing and you have to watch trend. Like, I don't know. I think the way that you kind of put things is very just like I wish I had like a teacher like you when I was learning maybe I would have retained some more information when I was growing up there, but yeah, man, so it's such a pleasure to be here, because again, like I said, I've been a big fan of yours, big watcher of your stuff, and I love your stuff on Threads too. We're kind of like Threads OGs now.
It's true. It's true. You and I are like, we posting away there. Well, I really appreciate that. So I want to give some context. So first, a lot of people are not going to get what Disco House was. I will be honest with you. When I first saw you posting about Disco House and I hit play, I was like, I was thinking like first Daft Punk record.
Yeah.
And then
sure.
it like, it's a little bit more modern than that. The Daft Punk really keeps it in the 70s with
Sure.
the 90s thing. Tell me how you explain Disco House to people.
So I'll try to break it. So to me, disco. Okay, so there's a couple of different things, and again, I guess like I think I told you yesterday in the thing, like I really enjoy telling my story on here, all the different stuff that I talk about, but I also like really, I want to talk about it from the perspective also of like how if somebody else was listening to this, if they were a rapper, if they were fucking in a metal band, if they could kind of like take plumb from what I'm saying here. So disco house, and the reason I talk about disco house, the genre that I'm doing, and for those of you that don't know, it's a subgenre of EDM, dance music, house music, whatever you want to call it. To me, disco house is because yes, Daft Punk was the reason that I started producing music. Obviously for a lot of people, that's not very like, it's not very like, amazing.
It's very similar to why I got a sampler too.
Exactly. And I think they're brilliant. And like basically it's taking not just records from the 70s when disco was kind of popping, or like kind of early 80s, but it's also just taking aesthetics, taking the certain kinds of the way the bass line sounds, the way the vocal is sung, the way the way the strings sections are done, and putting them over house, and using those elements. And also, it also does include, yes, sampling 70s records. I mean, there's a lot of songs that I have that are like, I've used 70s record samples as the lead instruments in the song that kind of now has like a John Summit vocal over it, or some kind of like modern kind of vocal over it. And that's me just smashing those kind of textures together. It's all about textures at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So to me, that's what disco house is. But now to get into, how this can be relevant to like somebody watching that doesn't do this kind of stuff. Why? So for those of you that are listening and know obviously about John Summit, Dum Doll, all these people that are just major, massive people right now, kind of in the dance music game.
And for those who don't know, John Summit and Dum Doll, like they are stadium level acts at this point.
Stadium level acts that, for example, for example, we have Outside Lands in San Francisco, which is a major. Well, last year we had Post Malone headlining. I mean, like major. It's like a baby Coachella in San Francisco. The lineup is insane. John Summit is one of the headliners. So to give you an idea, you got Doja Cat, you got humongous household names, and you have John Summit at the same tier as them. So anyway, that's for those of you that don't know. Point is that when he came out, him and Dom Dolla and a couple of these people, they came out during this kind of boom that happened around 2019, 2020, 2021-ish of this thing called Tech House. And Tech House is like this, it's a kind of like, imagine Miami kind of Ibiza, kind of like toe-tapping kind of music that they rode this wave and then they maximized it. They took it and now they basically, they still kind of come out of that wave, but they make trance, they make electro, they make much crazier music. But the point is that they came in from that wave. So for me, when I looked at that, and because, if you spend any time on social media, there's so much just beating over the head about genre, nomenclature about genre. This is hyperpop. This is this kind of rap. This is conscious rap. This is hip hop. This is the tech house. This is dubstep. This is terror dubstep. This is rhythm dubstep. You're getting smacked over the face because one of the things is there's something about the nomenclature about a genre, what a genre is named, that gets people's blood boiling. It's almost like the ultimate clickbait. If you go and say, I love this dubstep song, and it's playing drum and bass, the video now has 1 million views on it.
Yeah.
And it's a guy innocuously in his room DJing. He's like, I don't know, I didn't ask to go viral. Now he has people saying, fuck you, you piece of shit, like literally trying to.
Yep.
So something that I've noticed kind of unconsciously on social media is that nomenclature is very powerful. And so for me, yes, you have people like Purple Disco Machine, who I'm sure a lot of the listeners will know maybe. He makes straight up like disco. It's like Italo disco. It's like disco, but he kind of beefs it up with something. Then you have somebody like Young Bay, who does future funk, which is another subgenre. You have all these people that are and you have all these people that are doing kind of different stuff. And then you have like, French house, which is kind of like, I don't really know who's really doing French house right now, but as like a mainstream person. But the point is, you have all these different like subgenres of things that sample disco textures and records. For me, I'm saying disco house because I have so many friends that are disco producers from all kinds of parts of the spectrum, Italo disco, French house, filter house, all this different shit. For me, I know that the way that the genre is going to kind of transcend is when we can all show the frat boys that this is like tech house, which tech house included deep house and UK garage and all this stuff, and then it evolved. You need to have a one kind of flagship kind of name for it that people can go, oh, it has a disco bass on it, oh, it has a soul vocal on it, whatever. Then people can kind of rally around that. People can understand it. Say Purple Disco Machine and Young Bay and all these people, Dombresky, Disco Dom, those are all disco house. And now you can allow them to much more easily come down the genre rabbit hole and find people like me, find people like my friends who I think are incredibly brilliant. And I hope, I'm sure, Jesse, I'm sure that this is making sense to you, what I'm saying. And that's why, to me, I'm making it very simple and digestible by putting it all under this. And I'm kind of like trying to also obviously position myself as a kind of thought leader about this genre, because when people go, what does he make? What does he play? Disco house. And to be honest, it's been working for me a lot, which I think we'll get into that in a little bit right now. I'm getting booked in certain places because I'm still house, but I'm offering something slightly different. And that is allowing me to be on very kind of diverse lineups. Like I've played fucking 3 shows with the Chainsmokers this summer, which is like, because it's not house, it's a little bit happier, it's a little bit funkier, it's a little bit more.
Yeah, like disco sometimes even like I think a lot in Brooklyn is like when you're doing a disco night, it's a little bit more classy. Like we're going to keep the Pauly G's out of here, and it's going to be a little bit more people who have, like how you look, a little bit more of an odd flair to themselves.
Precisely. That's why I felt so alive. I felt so alive in Brooklyn over there. I felt like, oh, this is found my people over here.
Nice.
But that's what I'm saying. So like for me, I talk about disco house, and again, I guess the kind of thing that I'd like people to think about that are listening to this that are artists, I think it's important to kind of find your specific thing, because I get hate for saying disco house. That's obviously Italo disco. I don't fucking care, because no one is gonna go that listens to John Summit is going to go and say, I can't wait to look up some Italo disco. You have to give them something simple. You have to give them a literal gateway to come into. And trust me, they will go find Italo disco, future funk. But if they don't have an entry level like a Purple Disco Machine or a Disco Dom or something to be able to come in, then they're not going to go down the rabbit hole. And that's how. And I don't care if you're a music enthusiast or not. And you see how trends change. You have these kids that 4 years ago loved Tech House and Dom Dolla, John Summit. Now they're like, oh, we don't listen to that shit. We only listen to Afro House. Oh, we only listen to deep minimal. And they say that with a straight face.
And this is a tale as old as time. It's like I can remember talking to the people when I was younger. It was like that thing of like Van Halen got you into Venom and death metal, and for me it was like, I heard Nirvana, and then next thing you know, 3 months later I'm like, Oh, who would
Yeah,
listen to
the
that? We only
Nirvanas.
listen to the Black Flag and the most obscure punk rock, and that's just how music
It's
works.
how it always goes, and that's for me. It's like for me, as I like to say, I would like to be. I'm trying to position myself, as you see on social media, constantly. I'm doing it. I'm trying to become like an intellectual toll booth. Okay, when it comes to
Well,
that.
I will say intellectual, but very fun. Like one of the things too is like today I spend time scrolling through your feed, and I did a rare thing is I smiled because it's so fun because it shows that you're just making what you want to see in the
Thank you
world. And I
so much,
love that
dude.
so much. Like
That
it
means the
really
world
is
to me,
like
dude.
because it's. But too many people make content like that meme of the girl doing the dance and she's crying. Like that's what it feels like when you watch their content. Whereas with you, I'm like, what? You did this thing where you posted yourself DJing in San Francisco, this really good view on Nextdoor that showed the reactions to it, and it's so fucking great.
Dude, that actually on the Nextdoor app. I basically posted a video, like just basically like I took a fake video of me DJing in like a parking lot in San Francisco in front of this view. Had my cousin drive by and like do like Snapchat text, like why San Francisco's going down the drain. These fucking like these people are fucking in the streets being crazy DJing. I'm just trying to go to work. And obviously it was all staged, but people on Nextdoor went fucking crazy. They're like, yeah, honestly, you're right. We got to throw the politicians out. Like, they went crazy. But dude, but see, that's my humor. I love that shit. But again, people, what's the goal of that? People in the comments going, what song is this?
Yep.
Ta-da!
There we are.
There we go. We get fucking...
No, and I think that there's a really good vibe to doing things from the place of like having fun with it, but also like it's very clear. It's clear that you are in this music thing to make it your life, be serious, and we'll get into how you've not had this in just the recent past years. It hasn't been the school, but
yeah.
While we're on the subject,
sure,
I want to talk about disco as a weapon. Tell me about that.
So disco as a weapon is basically my kind of catchphrase I'm getting, or tagline, or actually it's like a mission statement. Basically, it's like I was talking about these different kind of genres of disco. And again, see, this is the thing. It comes back to like disco as a weapon is a Goshfather thing, but disco house is my, again, nomenclature for, I swear to God, I keep saying frat boys, but frat boys and sorority girls have a lot of, in America at least, they have a lot of like influence. If the shit is getting played, I mean, this is another thing that Taylor's all this time with music. If this shit hasn't changed, if it hasn't changed, like if this getting played in the colleges, if the record's getting passed around at frat parties and parties in college, the record has a chance. The record exists. The genre exists.
You don't get to millions of monthly listeners by having only cool people listening.
Period.
That's just a fact. There's not enough of them out there. You need people who eat the shit, eat the slop to do it, and who are not the coolest people. And that's part of the bargain that you make, is that you don't get to keep your audience just being all the best looking cool people if you want a big audience.
Absolutely. And for me, like, and the thing is, like, so that's the point with the disco house thing. That's me trying to gateway these people into the bigger genre. So the disco as a weapon thing is for me, like, that's something that's why I don't like lead so much with that in my content, like talking about disco as a weapon, because again, that's the whole thing we'll get into about, like, I guess content creation, but like disco as a weapon is my personal thing, where it's kind of just my version of disco house. It's not like this kind of sit around and groove, because I come from like a big room house kind of high energetic electro. I used to make trap and dubstep basically up until 2015, and we can talk about that too. But that's the kind of world that I come from, high energy. I do a lot of headbanging when I play. I mean, that's like my big thing. You fucking headbang. I try to like do this like super high energy. So the disco house that I play is a very like high energy. It's big buildups, big drops, big disco vocals, big punch you in the face kind of sounds. That's the kind of stuff that I make. I do make the kind of funkier, like softer stuff, but that's not what I'm known for. That's not why people follow me. So disco as a weapon for me is like, that's something that I write everywhere, because it's a very loaded phrase, and it just describes what you're going to see when you come to my show. When my visuals, when I play live, it says disco is a weapon, like, it kind of gets people primed for what they're experiencing. So that to me, it's just, and again, this is another thing, another thing that I'm probably going to talk about here too, is that I'm doing like a lot of mentoring for like up and coming artists. I'm talking like really random people that have like just fucking started being producers or DJs or whatever. And I run like a bunch of communities with like different people. I'll get into that too. And one thing that I tell them is like, can you explain what the hell your act is in like 3 words, 4 words? If you can't, you're in a bit of trouble. So for me, that's my rallying call. The disco as a weapon is almost more for me, because it gives me this, like, I want to do this disco thing, but I want to have an edge. I want it to be a little bit of like kind of more punk, kind of headbanging, kind of like feeling to it. It's not just, because when I was first starting off, and people, well, actually, when I was first telling people around 2022-ish, whatever, 2020, whatever, that I was a disco DJ, they were like, "Oh, you do weddings?" I was like, straight up, no, but they did it, but they didn't do it condescendingly. They were like, "Oh, I get it.
They're
Oh,
being honest.
Sick weddings." I'm like, okay, no. So again, with that said, it forced me to kind of go, okay, let's be specific here.
And I think there's a thing that it taps into that's interesting, which is that a lot of people don't consider that danger is one of the biggest parts of how people see music. And then when they see danger, a weapon is dangerous, that they're like, oh, this has more of an edge. Weapons have edges to it than other things that are more polished than you may hear at a wedding.
Yeah, or like on the beach, or like, you know what's funny, like especially with like disco house, like French house, this kind of genre, it's kind of, I don't want to say it's been co-opted, but it's just kind of how it is. Like the people that play it are like dudes in flower shirts in like the UK, and like, you know, the kind of receding hair, like, and like, you know, kind of like, oh, oi mate, we're gonna listen to some fucking classics, you know, and that's kind of like and I love those guys. Shouts out to all those guys, because I've been getting to know a lot of these guys since I've kind of come out, you know, with putting so much music out. They're like, oh, we play your records out in Sheffield every night. I'm like, oh, all right, and I love them. Okay, but this is like what I'm saying. We gotta make it sexier. We gotta, if we want to get the you know, Studio 54, you know, the afros and the bell bottoms and the, you know, the shiny shirts. If we want to move past that, we have to. That's what I'm trying to do. I think Dobreski Disco Dom is doing a great job of that. I'm trying to do, you know, a kind of more punk rockier kind of version of it. So we'll see, dude. We'll see. I'm still pushing for it.
You know, it's a very funny thing. Like in my member feed, my most popular video is a video on positioning, and that's your position. And like, it's a thing that like really, really sets you apart from the other artists. And like I always say, you have to make people understand you well. But there's another thing though that, like, you know, I always talk about this concept of like that you need to make the dumbest person you know be able to explain to the second dumbest person you know who you are very fast. And I think of it, it's like that disco as a weapon thing helps. And then there's this other thing that helps, which is that you have a very strong look. Can you talk to me about that?
Okay, great. So in 2022, for those of you that don't know my story, I was going to quit music. I was basically doing like, we're kind of working in tech. I was kind of like doing some stuff with crypto up until from 2020 to 2022. I mean, what the fuck else was there to do? I definitely wasn't DJing shows. So as we all know, someone ate a bat. So we all had to stay home. There was a whole moment that, I don't know if you all remember that, but quote unquote. So anyway, so at 2022, I kind of, because I was doing like crypto stuff and like learning about all this stuff, helping people, I got very knowledgeable with that stuff, and I became friends in these kind of like groups, these sort of you know, like little WhatsApp groups and like Telegram groups with some huge DJs that prior to this moment in my life, I was just I was the one emailing them, please check out my song, for like years, and they didn't give me the time of day because they're so fucking huge. And now I'm in these groups with them explaining like Web3 and crypto to them, and like fucking decentralization, all the stuff that I was kind of nerding out about doing the thing. And they were like, oh my God, this guy knows his shit. So now I have a kind of relationship with these bigger artists that I never had before. Now it's no longer I'm just like kind of supplicating little, hey, hello, please answer my email. Now I'm just like, you know, we're kind of like equals, which, I mean, we're all equals, but in this context, it's different. So I became kind of friends with a lot of big DJs, and I'm in these groups with these big DJs, and I'm sending them demos because in 2022 I was going to kind of quit, or I guess in 2020 I was going to quit. So that whole year, but then I quietly was like, oh guys, what do you think about this? I started dipping my toes back into it, and at one point in December 2022, one guy was like, took me aside and said, hey, listen, we love you, dude. You're sending us a lot of demos, but I just want you to know something. If we tell you, these well-known producers tell you that your song is the greatest song ever made, or if we go and say, hey, you're a piece of shit, stop producing music, go hide under a hole and never make another song, he's like, it doesn't fucking matter what we have to say. What matters is what the market thinks. What matters is what you think. So if you keep sending us demos that are unfinished, they might as well not exist. Our opinion doesn't matter. So that blew my mind. So then in January 1st, 2023, I decided to put out one song a week for 52 weeks. So I did that. I did that. It changed my life. The reason I'm having all the success is because still reverberations from that act that I did that year. I did a bunch of remixes. I even had a couple of label releases, but I was consistent. Every single week I put out a song, but 52 songs. A couple of them kind of blew up, but it doesn't matter. The point is that I changed as a human. So the point is that from January to August, I'm putting out songs every single week, and then at the beginning of the week, I'm making little content of me going, haha, new song out. It wasn't really doing a lot, it wasn't like going viral or anything, but I was putting it out there. But dude, I was just in a t-shirt where I had my shorter hair. I was just kind of just like, I was just like Victor doing, oh, look, Victor's doing music. Victor's doing songs. Victor's doing song. Oh, look at Victor doing his little song thing in 2023. Around August, I had a video that was kind of like comedic, talking about some producer shit or some fucking thing, talking about the algorithm that went kind of viral, and ish. And then a lot of new people coming in, and they were DMing me, they're like, haha, you're funny. And then I started like, and then I had like a little inkling. I was like on TikTok, and I reached out to some random complete strangers and said, hey, can I ask you a quick question? They're like, yeah. What do you think I am? Like, what am I? What do I?
Great question.
But it would never occur to me to ask this question. Like, what do you think? Because I guess the reason I asked the question was because then I posted underneath one of the videos that was blowing up, hey, check out my music. And then somebody wrote, you do music, question mark? I was like, uh-oh. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, hold on. So I asked the fucking random kid, what do you think I do? And I was like, you're like a comedian? Oh, you like do a lot of traveling? Oh, wait, you're like a traveling like commentator, like comedian? Oh, you do like some music stuff? I was like, this is not good. This is not good. And then I asked a couple more people. They're like, same fucking thing. Like, you do comedy, right? I'm like, okay. This is not good. So then I read an article. I was in Greece in the water, and I was in Greece, and I read an article by Dave One from Chromeo, where I think it was
I literally was hanging out with him last week.
Yeah, so it was like it was like Esquire or GQ, where he does the thing where he talks about fashion, because Dave One from Chromeo is, you guys.
For anybody who doesn't know, the funniest thing of being in a room with Dave is watching everyone, guys and girls, just look at how well he's dressed and go, damn, those jeans fit so good.
He's brilliant. So I think it was Esquire. I think it makes sense. It was Esquire, GQ was one of the two. He's getting interviewed talking about just how how important fashion is to his brand, to his life, to his life. Forget the brand. And he'd said that I have it literally on one. I don't know. It's on my lock screen usually. It's just a screenshot from the interview where he goes, the ultimate test for a musician is, can people dress up like you for Halloween?
Yeah.
And he goes, he's like Wu-Tang Clan, Daft Punk, Beastie Boys. He's like, they all could have been the Avengers. He says that in the article. I have the article fucking memorized, basically. He goes, all these different people, all these legendary Nirvana, fucking, who name it. Name a fucking band that's a household name. MF Doom. Everyone always likes to go and say, oh, this is real rap, this is fake rap. Okay, MF Doom objectively is real fucking hip hop. Great. He's an Avenger. He looks like literally like Dr. Doom.
Yep.
Okay. So then it just clicked to me. It's like, I don't have any kind of clear visual indication of what the fuck I am, who I am, why I am, what's the purpose of me. I look like a guy that's doing stuff, which is fine. Mm-hmm. But for me, it was very easy for me to just like kind of fall into just being me and forget that I'm an artist. Because also there's like this whole insecurity about being an artist, all this stuff. If you don't really have like a structure within, whether the structure is a brand, a sound, and in my case, I was lacking the visual brand. So for me, I kind of like looked into like, what is it that I have? What is a world that I can kind of pull from? Well, my family's from Soviet Union, and I grew up in this. Okay. I grew up in this, so I can speak Russian fluently, like all this stuff. So I grew up with all of the fucking cliches. But one of the most cliche thing in the Soviet Union is the tracksuit and like the drunk uncle and the fucking and the squatting and the vodka and because that's a world.
I lived in a Russian neighborhood.
There you go. You're in Brooklyn. There you go. So to me, those cliches are something that are comfortable. They're like comforting to me. It's my comfort cliche, I guess. But it's also a world that I know very intimately. I have literal uncles that are with a vodka and a cigarette, and they're wearing the tracksuit, and it's the middle of it's 100 degrees. They're walking around in a full fucking tracksuit. Like, to me, that's a world that I completely understand. And if you look at like a lot of the visual stuff that I kind of post and the kind of world building posts that I do on my Instagram, a lot of stuff is like Soviet Union kind of kitsch, kind of nostalgia. Yep. But then with me and
I saw you showing like the ketchup pastry and all that.
Exactly. Exactly, and then
I'm
me
looking at that, I'm like, I ain't eating that shit.
Yeah, exactly. And then me holding a disco ball. So then for me, I was like, you know what? That's the world that I can do. I already have the hair. I can do the glasses. I can do a whole fucking thing. And now I have this kind of look where I'm this like prototype kind of like drunk Russian uncle, like crazy, like headbanging, like disco fucking person. Because in the Soviet Union, disco was like a big thing because you had to like smuggle in. You had to smuggle in the tapes. You had to smuggle in the vinyls. You had to smuggle them in like inside of like fucking furniture and shit like that. It was a whole crazy thing.
There's a sick, huge. I'm sure you've seen it, like the disco in Russia YouTube video, like that's like 15 minutes long, that tells like all the story of how it went through the Balkans and all that.
Dude, I gotta see. I gotta go watch that, and I gotta go integrate.
I'll find it for you when we're done. Yeah,
but you see what I'm saying?
Great documentary.
So here's what I'm saying. So for me now, and again, this is something that like I want to like instill to people, and I talk to artists about this all the time. It's not just about like how you look. How you look is it should be inferred by some kind of world that you kind of understand intimately that you can pick from. Because for me now, I can infinitely pick from this like Soviet Union kind of cringe, kind of look at that Russian, that IG page, look at that Russian where they're like fucking doing crazy. Look at this fucking Russian IG page, dude. That's just I can infinitely steal from that. I can infinitely go and reference that and then put it through my machine, put a disco record over it, put me inside of it, put me headbanging on it, put San Francisco in it somehow because there's like a lot of like little Russian like communities here. And now I have something that is a new thing. So for me, it's like, the easiest litmus test for someone to how to find their visual brand or how to find their brand as an artist, it's take something that already exists that and smash it against something that has nothing to do with it. Now you have a brand that hasn't existed before. So for me, it's Soviet Union kind of like cringe multiplied by high energy, like disco house, EDM dance music. Where does that doesn't exist anywhere else? So, but I'm now a one of one. I'm not saying I'm a genius for this because it took me a very long time to come up with this and actually like embody it. But once you get it, and once I got it, it gives me so much more confidence in what I'm doing because now, so for those listeners that may or may not know, I wear this like red tracksuit in all of my content. And I wear the same glasses. I have my hair down. But now the beauty about having a visual brand, and this is something that like the kind of part 2 of everything, is now as in this new iteration of me as Goshfather, I probably had like one video kind of go viral. And it was this video that I did like a huge crazy speech when I was playing at EDC in July or in May or something.
It's a great video.
But that was the only video that kind of went viral. It got 150,000 plays. That to me is, I don't know if that's viral, but for me it is. But here's the thing. 99% of my videos barely even get as much views as I have followers. But my content is almost made to be skipped past because you'll skip past me 50 times, but on the 51st time, you're going to see the same fucking guy that you saw 50 times in a row and said, I don't give a fuck about this guy. And you're going to be forced to give a shit. You're going to be forced to go, okay, what is this now? I've seen it 20 times. I said no. What the hell's going on? Oh, okay. I actually fuck with this guy, or I don't. Listen, if they don't fuck with me, I'm happy. I got to the point where I was presented enough on the timeline for someone to at least know that I exist enough to not fuck with me.
I love that. No, it's so real. It's like you being recognizable is the difference between getting followers and not, people like sticking around. And I have to tell people all the time, and like when I'm watching your content the last few days, like I'm just like, so I'm really face blind, and I'm like, yeah, I could walk into an airport, not know you're in a country. I'm like, that's probably Victor. Yeah,
and that's literally, and I think that's like what a lot of people, when I try to explain this to other people, they kind of don't understand it. But like to me, this has been the most powerful tool in my arsenal, especially that I have no team. Basically, this has been my leverage. So I can go and make, because there's been a lot of days where I'm like, oh, I don't know, I have no fucking good content, I don't know what to fucking post, but I'll post something. As long as I'm in the red jacket, as long as there's like my song playing in the video, as long as it's my face, as long as it's my brand, it's still a bid of unconsciously being top of mind for people in the music industry, for fans, something. So for me, this has helped me immensely, because now it's like when someone goes, disco house, oh, we're putting a lineup together, we need something that kind of isn't. I'm the first person they think of, and the proof is in the pudding. I'm getting booked now. This has been like my most successful fucking year since I've kind of really done this kind of rebrand in 2023, and it's because the brand now is doing the work for me, basically.
Yeah. I totally see it. You talked about not having a team. One, I've noticed you talk about this a lot because it's very, an artist your size with millions of streams. Like, I know I've been there with many artists. Like, it's a lot of fucking work. But I did notice that you've been like, well, it may be time to change that. So talk to me about how you've been balancing it, and talk to me about, like, I often talk about this thing, the pain point, like where things are going up, you hit a point where it's like, man, this is starting to suck
Yeah.
because like it's getting too intense. And then finally you get some relief when you've like figured out that team. But it seems like you're at that point where it's starting to get a little too crazy.
I'll tell you exactly. So, I mean, I have pretty serious ADHD, and if it wasn't for ChatGPT like changed my life because it was I'm able to have this whole system where I have like this living, breathing fucking like to-do list where I just got like I'll go walk my dog and like free associate and anything I have to do, everything that's helped me a lot, and everything's been fine. So, but the thing is, like with me, every single communication that comes out is me. Every single song that gets mixed and mastered is me. Every single like negotiation for a gig is me. Every single fucking airplane ticket that gets bought is me. Everything that comes out is me.
So much work.
It's a lot. But two things are starting to happen now. So I just announced this show in October, a couple weeks ago, which is I'm playing with the Kygo and the Chainsmokers. It's like Kygo, Chainsmokers, Odd Mom. It's like obviously I'm gonna be playing a little fucking nosebleed slot. As we all know, that doesn't fucking matter. As we all fucking know, if it's just me and then these people on the lineup, it's an unbelievable, it's a blessing, and I'm so grateful for this show, and I'm looking forward to it like crazy. But since then, the bookings have started getting really crazy. Like the inbound bookings have started getting really crazy. I've ChatGPT or ADHD be damned. I trying my best to keep everything ahead and work on music. The music production aspect is starting to suffer for sure, because now it's like I'll go tour. You come back, even if I'm like sober on the tour, if I come back, the fact that you're just traveling and doing crazy ass hours, my Mondays and Tuesdays are gone. Yeah. They're gone. So Monday and Tuesday don't exist as days because my social battery has to come back. In order for me to like summon up the energy to then go, okay, it's not about social battery. It's about you have tasks that you have to do.
Yep.
And guess what? When you're solo doing this as an independent artist, nobody gives a fuck if you don't do them. Fuck off. Someone else will take your place in a second. Yeah. In a second, not even a second.
I think I could say, as somebody who's consulted artist for now 16 years, one of the main things I've seen when you have momentum like you do right now, where you have all these monthly listeners, all this thing, is that when you go, fuck it, I can't do these tasks, and you start letting things go, it's like, yep, and then the next thing you know is another thing erodes, and then it slips away, and you are rebuilding, or you just never get the opportunity again.
Period. And here's the thing, because the opportunities that are coming in right now for me are in earnest. They're not like, oh, your reputation precedes you. It's people taking a fucking risk on me, dude. In a nice, I mean, not in a, oh, you owe us, but in a way where it's like, okay, we see this guy, we want to maybe be the guys that can go and say, oh, we gave him his first shot in this new city.
Yep.
I feel that, and the conversations that I have with promoters, I feel that, and that's why, like, I always go and I show them that I'm grateful. I make content. I'm not one of those artists that goes, here's the flyer. Jesse, you will never see me ever post a fucking flyer and go, I will always go the extra mile, and I think that is like why I'm getting these bookings. Okay, so there you go. So you have all that. But now what's starting to happen, dude, the music is the lack of energy to make music is one thing. That's okay, because I already have like releases that were done before that already kind of have like songs coming out. That's fine. But the creating new material is extremely suffering. And I've just recently, and the reason that I'm even that what would make a person go and make a post, like just to give context for realistic, I basically wrote a post the other day after my New York show. I played this big show in New York on last Sunday at the called Azure Day Party. And I posted this thing on Monday or on Tuesday. It says, hey, the inbound stuff is getting a little bit out of control for me, and I really am looking for management right now. And it takes a lot for me to say something like that. It takes a lot for any artist to like ask for help. It takes a lot for a human to ask for help. Yeah. And I literally posted that, and I really was looking at it, I'm like, this is kind of cringe, but I'm like, dude, I need it because I know what the trajectory I want. But the point is, the thing that kind of like got me to the point of posting that was I literally missed 2 emails that were gigs in new markets that were paying well. And then I found them just randomly a couple of days ago. And I was like, oh, hey, I'm still interested. And they said, sorry, we passed because we thought that you were just ignoring us. Damn. Oh, dude, like it's just, and for a person like me, where it's like, this is, I can't like, I hope I can try to like explain to the people that are listening. Like that is such a fucking bummer because every single penny and every single gig is like, it's worth 10x.
Yeah.
And so for that to happen, it was like almost like a trauma. And the fact that it's like, how can I now go and say, guys, I'm not being a fucking dick? Because the other thing is, I think people think that I have a team. That's the other thing. Because I'm so active.
That's the problem is the second you're playing any gigs and they see like, oh, they flew. Oh, they went for 300 miles from their home. Yeah. It's like, oh, well, they clearly have a team. And it's like, a lot of the time that's not true.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, so missing those 2 gigs and them that kind of response and me being so apologetic, like I don't even want the gig anymore. I just want you guys to understand that I'm doing this all on my own. Anyway, point is that was enough of an impetus for me to go, okay, now it's like not funny anymore. Like I need, so I'm willing to give away a percentage of what I make to someone that can kind of alleviate for this not to happen anymore. And if we can keep the machine going, I know that based on my vision and based on my ideas and based on my releases and based on kind of the trajectory that I'm taking this project, we can go bigger and bigger. But now I'm at a point right now where it's like, I cannot allow that to happen again.
Yeah, and I know for a lot of people I talk to, like the solutions when the manager isn't working is like now that's like they either have to get a virtual assistant that they're paying like $1,000 a month to, or they hire a intern from a music business school to start to just give them experience and at least have it that they're gonna like try their hardest to understand this thing. But all that also has systems that are tough because those people need to be trained and that takes time and it's like it's tough, and that this point you're at right now is a painful point.
Well, yes, and the other kind of issue is that this is, I guess, something, you want to be very careful if you're an artist. Well, a couple of things, right? Number one, there's so many topics that I want to fucking cover here.
I know. I'm like looking at the time. I'm like, damn, hour only. Damn.
But like, one of the biggest things that because I'm on, me for those listening, Instagram Threads has been a huge part of just like my career kind of getting bigger because I'm constantly at top of mind of a lot of people in the industry because I'm yapping on there all the fucking time, and like yapping on there and being like kind of seen on a platform like Instagram Threads is amazing because whenever I do go and open up relationships with literally like people in the industry, like managers, agents, promoters, talent buyers in the industry, my reputation kind of precedes me in a positive way, and it's almost kind of beyond being an artist, which kind of it's leverage. Let's just be honest, it's leverage. And just, I don't know, for me, it's like one of the biggest things that I kind of learned is you kind of, and this is the thing, because I'm talking to artists on there all the time, and they're always, as you know, a lot of artists kind of have, I love how you talk about it, about the musanon. Like there's just so much like fucking, I call it shitty lore. Like there's bad information.
Real.
There's bad information out there for independent artists that they just eat up. Yum. They're just eating up the worst fucking bullshit that is completely not real and then slapping it onto their identity. I understand they're doing it out of fear. And one of the main things that people always say is, I need a manager to go to the next level. Brother, you haven't put a song out in 6 months. If a manager came and looked, tell me what is there to manage? What are we managing? Yeah. Oh, well, they can. No, you're either making music or you're not. So for me, I've always been a big proponent of telling people, a manager, an agent, is not a guardian angel that's going to fly out of the sky and press and touch you on the forehead, and now you're on tour. You have to have that. If you would have told me that 5-6 years ago, I would have been the hard-headed person. I was like, no, trust me, I need a manager. And I had a manager pre-COVID. And looking back, seriously, 5 years ago, I was a fucking shithead. I wasn't making music. I was making excuses. Oh my God, help me get this gig. This is before COVID. Anyway. Point is that now that I understand how much fucking work that I had to put in to get like this bare minimum of what I got, now I understand. You look at like what a manager or an agent is, you now realize it's not like a manager chooses you. It's if you got to bring them in a time of need when something is at critical mass, or you're not. The volcano is not going to erupt, you know. So that's why for me right now, like me going and looking for representation. It's almost like it's like I'm bleeding. And I need a doctor to come in right now to help me. Otherwise, this project dies. So that, and then, that's why right now I'm kind of going through this. So anyway, it's a very interesting time. And I guess to quickly come back to your original question, I know we always go on tangents here, but I very much prided myself on having no team. It was a very point of pride for me because so much of, and I think the reason I talked about it so much is because so much of my life and so many conversations that I have with new artists, like on Threads and stuff, they go, if only I had a team, if only I had a team, if only I had a team. If only you had a team, what? You'd be making excuses to them instead of yourself. Like that's not how it works. So like to me, it's like one of the biggest things that I tell up and coming artists is independent artists are capable of much more than they tell themselves they are. There's so many tools out there. There's so many resources. Like Jesse Cannon, seriously, like you alone, is such an incredible resource, and so much of it that you give away for free. I mean, it's a godsend. You're doing an incredible work for people. You're saving people that are otherwise really fucking lost. And there's a lot of people that just refuse to like use those resources for a multitude of reasons, and I just think there's so much artists can do on their own. I want to be living proof that I'm an independent as fuck artist that did so much of it on their own. And now, fortunately, because I've kind of looked at it like that, I've done almost everything that I could on my own. Now I'm in a situation where like I'm trying to bring in air support. Otherwise, I'm going to be in trouble here. So
let's switch gears
yes,
a little bit too. So
Sorry,
one of the things you really evangelize is finishing your music. Tell me why that's important to you.
Yes. Well, number one, 2023, when I put a song out every week, one of the most interesting things was this was kind of like, you know, coming out of COVID kind of era. People were still very confused what the fuck is going to happen next. When I started doing it, and I did it so much out of like a kind of desperation, I was like, listen, I'm either going to quit music or I'm going to give it the old college try. That's really how I looked at it. I'm like, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to be a psycho and just do it. You know, I was making kind of good money through like tech stuff, in that I had a little bit of time to like invest in myself and be able to like chill and like just kind of work on this project. Which I know a lot of people don't have the luxury to be able to do, but we all still have the same 24 hours in the day. You know what I mean? It's not like I was I wasn't paying for mix and mastering. I was doing it all on my own. I was literally putting it out there. Point is that after like week 5 or 6, I started getting interesting DMs from friends and old homies from LA that were producers or want to be producers, whatever. People were messaging me after week 5 or 6 when they were like, "Oh, this guy's not actually joking." They'd message me, "Hey, bro, you got to slow down a little bit. You're oversaturating your audience." And I was just like, number one, what fucking audience do I have? Dude, if I had an audience, I wouldn't have to be doing any of this shit in the first place. Number one, I'd be on tour or I'd be fucking living off of. So that's number one. So that's what. And number two, I know for a fact that a lot of these people that are reaching out to me haven't put a song out in 6, 7 years.
Oh, boy.
So it made me realize something like, and listen, out of love, out of empathy for those people, I still was like, you're either one of two people. You're either the person that's trying to do something, or you're the person that isn't doing something that needs to go and bring the person that's doing something down a peg.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's so real.
It's real, and when I saw it, I didn't get mad. That was a very epiphanous moment to me because it made me realize, like, number one, it made me realize I'm on the right path, and number two, it made me realize that, and it's something that anybody can take, no matter if people are listening that aren't musicians, whatever aspect of the industry you're trying to get into, the ultimate like. The litmus test is if you're doing the thing or not that you say you are. You know what I mean? If you're a manager, are you actively looking up clients or actively looking up the business? Are you actively trying to get smart every day? If you're a musician, are you fucking finishing songs or not? I want to be a musician. Are you playing music? No. Are you finishing music? Nah, I don't like that. What are you? What are you then? I'm sorry. I'm not saying everybody has to put out a song every week, but I know because I was just there. It feels like I was just... what's funny is like the mindset that I have right now about finishing music and being an artist, all this stuff. I swear to God, I spent so much of my life being not how I am right now that I can still... It's not even like an echo. I could still taste the feeling of, the music industry is rigged. Everybody's bad. Oh my God, I'm not rich or hot. I can feel it. I can feel how easy it is to go back.
I can feel one of the reasons I talk the way I do is I'm often talking to my past self.
Dude, 100%. 100%. Oh, and I swear to God, dude, so much. I lived in LA for 10 years, and the last like 4 years of me living in LA was me going to parties in the Hollywood Hills going, so, Victor, what are you working on? I got a couple things, got a couple remixes, yeah. I was better at talking about the shit at parties than I was, because by the way, all those things that I talked about never got done, of course. Not one of them, not one thing got finished that I ever talked about. So that is, to me, and for those of you listening that maybe have this issue, it's a very dark path to go down. Because the thing about artists is that if we get like on a psychological tip about it, or just in general, if you're like a human that really, if your identity is tied into being a musician or a music producer, in my case, DJ, music producer, whatever, and you go and tell people all the time that you are one and you got shit in the pipeline and you don't do it, it causes a very dark cognitive dissonance inside your mind. This is why a lot of people get into heavy drinking, heavy drugs, heavy partying, heavy name your thing, because they need to get away from that dissonance that's inside of them, and they have to fill it up with something else because doing the work is too much anxiety. Finishing the work requires too much self-esteem. It's a terrible combustion. So for me, when I was putting...
I like to add to what you're saying, like I've obviously made videos where I'm like, even putting out a song every 2 weeks is too much. But you know what I would take any day over not putting out your music is putting out a song every fucking hour. Like, I don't care. I would rather people at least make progress, because what you're saying with the cognitive dissonance is, I think the worst version of it is is the depression of not moving, because one of the
Actual
main things,
depression. Actual
yeah, like
depression.
I've read so many books on depression. You know, I'm married to
Oh.
somebody who's with a social work
Oh, wow.
degree, and like
Oh, wow.
a lack of progress and a lack of moving forward in life is the number one thing that will keep you depressed. And one of the situational depression is from not doing things to get out of where you are. And any day, if somebody's like, wow, Jesse's nodding along with releasing a song a week, I will take that any day over not doing anything. I do find in most genres, there's a more optimized way and rhythm.
Of course.
You're
Of
in one of those
course.
genres where this work can work great, but like, in all honesty, any day I would take putting out a song every fucking day over doing nothing.
Right. And I think for me, you know, and for those of you that are like listening, like, you know, when I say this all the time, it's like my kind of catchphrase on Instagram threads where I say, today's a gorgeous day to finish your music and share it with the world. My hope is that when I say that, I'm obviously not trying to say that every single person should put a song out every single day, but I know, because I was just that musician 5 years ago that was sitting on 40 songs. Oh, and by the way, I didn't mention this part, but in 2020, I moved back to San Francisco from LA. I plugged in my hard drive with all my music on it because I'm a dumbass, and it died and I lost everything. So 10 years of LA studios, not just EDM like fucking in the Ableton, studio sessions with vocalists that I paid for, sessions that I got people to, you know, actual live instruments, all gone forever, unsalvageable, gone. So that was one of the reasons that I wanted to quit music. But to me, I looked at that and I was like, that was my like, I don't want to say punishment, but it was like my eye opening, where I was like, me talking about putting shit out. Oh, my record's almost ready, man. World's not ready. And then this is kind of what I was taught by that lesson. So for me, you know, when I say put your music out today, I'm trying to say that to the people that have just been sitting on music for years. It's like, put something out. Put something out. I know you're at home in your room going like this, watching your homies from your hometown go on tour. And I know it's fucking killing you. I know the doom scrolling is fucking killing you, and I know watching it. That's when the Musanon conspiracies start happening. It's like, well, she's just hot. She's a hot girl that knows the owner of the club. Dude, it doesn't matter what somebody else is fucking. It doesn't matter if somebody else's industry plan. You are not putting music out.
Nepo baby every fucking hour, and it's like, no, I'm sorry.
It's like, bro, it's like Nepo baby. Put a song out.
Yeah.
Release one record, and then let's talk about Nepo babies. So anyway, so that's what I'm saying. But it's what I'm saying. So like, my goal is like, if you're a musician out there and you're sitting on something, you gotta take the Band-Aid off. The world has to hear it. You have no idea. You gotta bet on yourself. I don't care. Oh, it's not ready yet. Maybe it's not ready yet, but you need to create some kind of momentum in your life. Because if you don't, you're gonna start falling into this, the world is rigged against me kind of mentality. And once you're in the hole of that, especially as an artist, and I feel like musicians are one of the most marginalized groups on the internet because of how much how easy we get taken advantage of. But actively by, I'm a manager, get on a playlist. No. We want, because we're so desperate, and the hole is so deep that we dig ourselves into. We're looking for any kind of messiah to help us, and people usually get fucked over. You know what the antithesis of that is? Take the fucking song, make some fucking artwork, put it on Spotify, get 14 streams. That's 14 more streams than when it was in your fucking hard drive.
Yep. No, you touched on a really interesting thing too, is like the people who write you is that's the tough thing, is that you have to sort out the bad advice. But the other thing that we didn't get into is that you also, once you start putting out music, start to find your people. You get that first DM from that person who's in fucking Kalamazoo and is like, yeah, this slaps. And that like helps
what else
start to feel better.
What else you got?
Get more motivated. Yeah. So one of the things I think that's really sick that you do too is you are helping younger artists, and like obviously that's a thing close to my heart. Tell me about what you do and like what you're telling people and how you're helping them.
So one thing that I want to kind of bring up, which is kind of like a bombshell when I talk to people about this, is we have on Instagram. So okay, I'm going to try to say this coherently. So you have things like Discord communities. You have things like WhatsApp communities. You have things like, schools. You have all these different kind of like communities that are online, blah, 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 blah. To me, the issue about Discord and like WhatsApp and stuff is that if you're not actively using Discord or WhatsApp, there's not enough dopamine for the average human being to come back to that place, even if they're getting like a lot of value from being part of that community. And then there was this thing on Instagram called Instagram broadcast channels. Well, Instagram broadcast channels, 99% of artists are using them wrong because they're just broadcast, like they'll post a flyer on the main feed and then post a flyer in the broadcast channel. Yep. Nobody wants to see the flyer in either the broadcast channel or in the main feed. They don't want to see your fucking flyer. They don't care. Unless you're fucking Beyonce, nobody gives a fuck about your fucking flyer. Yeah. So they're doing it wrong. They're doing it wrong everywhere. But the other issue is that it's also the way that they broadcast channel. So the reason I'm talking about Instagram or like TikTok, well, I guess mostly Instagram, is Because there's dopamine, there's a dopaminergic reason for the average human to return to Instagram, to doom scroll, to keep up with their homies. If they go on Discord and none of their friends are on Discord, they're gonna forget to go on Discord and your community kind of dies. Or you get like a specific kind of community of Discord, like only people, and that really very much limits you. So what I started doing, and I really want to see more artists doing this and more people in general doing this, is Instagram DM communities.
Interesting.
Instagram DM communities are just a big ass group chat. You know, you could add up to 250 people into a group chat.
No shit. I didn't know it was that big.
So check this out, and I'm sure they're going to expand it. So you could add people to the group chat. You can even pin like links to the top of the thing. If you could think about how important something like that is. So
wow.
So dude, I have 3 different group chats. One group chat that I have on Instagram DM it's called the 52 Gang. And I have a group of kids that I don't really talk about this a lot, but I will soon. It's a group of kids that saw me on podcasts talking about the 52 song, a song a week challenge, and I'm just mentoring them for free. I mean, this is like my goodwill kind of machine that I just want to help these kids because this is a very scary task. And I do like once a month Zoom calls with them where I just check in how we feeling. And these people are gangsters. Some of these kids went from, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, to putting out a song a week like it's nothing. So it's almost it's month 8 now, you know, of doing this. So they're killing it. So that's one group. And I have, you know, in your Instagram DMs, you can pin conversations to the top of your thing. So I have 52 Gang. I have Disco Illuminati, which is a group of all disco house music producers of all shapes and sizes. We have huge people in there that are household names. We have really small, like up and coming people that have like 500 followers. And we're all in there just talking, sharing samples, sharing new releases, sharing interesting news. It's an amazing little community. So that's my community that I have over there. And that actually turned into, and I haven't talked about this, but I'm now an Insomniac to do EDC and everything.
Oh, yeah, this is one of my questions.
I'm a radio host. I'm a radio host.
Give us a true sentence on what Insomniac is.
So Insomniac is the biggest dance music promotion entity in America. I mean, and now they're growing. They're becoming bigger. They have Korea. They have Japan. They're about to have Colombia soon. They're humongous. They do all the biggest raves and all the markets, and they're like this giant machine, and they take over the markets. And now they have this huge thing in the Rockies, which is like Colorado and stuff. Then they have Pacific Northwest. Obviously, have California, East Coast. So anyway, they're huge. They're the ones that put on EDC, Beyond Wonderland, Hardfest, which is coming up this week. And they have now Insomniac Radio, which is an app, and I'm now one of the hosts. And so this Disco Illuminati thing. So I do like regular radio hosting, like, hey, what's up? You're listening to Insomniac Radio, and I talk about the songs. But Fridays at 5 p.m., I have my own show that I curate artists. They come and do a 60-minute mix, and I do like little radio stuff on them, talking about music. So it's a great point of leverage for me. It's an incredible, just like opening for me to be able to share just disco house and disco house artists I love. So that's an amazing thing. So that's what the Disco Illuminati kind of channel kind of turned into, where that's where I can help pick and choose up and coming people from the genre, give them a thing on the show. Then the third thing that I have pinned, the third Instagram DM group, remember, these have like maybe 50, one has 50, one has 100, one has like 150 in it, people. So still, dude, with 100 people, as an artist, you can do a lot of damage. With 50 people that you're in the constant contact with, that isn't the feed, the algo, I'm talking with these people every day like they're my family. So this is a constant, not algorithmically gated communication on an application, Instagram, that people are actually returning to for dopamine doom scrolling reasons. There's an actual reason to come back to the conversation. So this is why this thing has been so brilliant. I don't see a lot of artists doing this. So the third one is just called Goshfather Music Friends. And it's a combination of fans of my music and kids that I talk to on threads that are, some of them are fucking buskers on the streets of their city. Some of them are accomplished dance music producers that are on tour. But I'm in there sharing information about, a lot of it really is about like artist brand. I really go behind the scenes and I talk to them about like, hey, here's my career. Here's everything that's happening for me. And I'll literally go and break down like how I got this gig, why this is working for me. How did I get signed to this label? There's no stupid questions. And then the beautiful thing about it is, and in this Goshfather Music Friends third Instagram DM group that I have, it's all done in public. And I'm sure you have your communities that are like that as well. Yeah. But it's all done in public. If somebody has a question, they're like, oh my God, I'll answer someone else's question. They'll go, oh, I was just gonna ask you something about that, right? So again, community, and finding communities that are not algorithmically gated. Maybe you don't got to do Instagram DM, whether it's Discord, WhatsApp. I just saw that is like the final frontier, because now you have the ability to check in with actual people that give a fuck about what your music is. the other thing that I'll say is so many artists, I call it looking left and right. So there's three different ways that you can look towards people as an artist. You can go left and right, which are your friends and family. Your friends and family are not going to support you until you've blown up. I'm sorry. Period. And that's something that I got to tell people, like, you have to fucking get. Looking up means you're trying to look at bigger artists and music industry insiders and professionals, and you're trying to get their attention in a sea of a million people that are trying to get their attention. So you have now, so far, these two lanes have blockages in their own way. Here you got to get lucky or have a connection or pray to God that someone answers your email from a record label or from an agent or from a thing. Here, friends and family are not going to. So what's your third option? Look down. Look at people that can't do anything for you. Look at people that can become your fans, because those people, and obviously I don't mean down like they're lower, but down like it's a less coin toss to get these people to give a fuck about you, right? So for me, I focus on strangers on the internet. If I can galvanize strangers on the internet that have a slight interest in what I'm doing, and if I can go and find one new person every single day, bring them into one of these communities and go, you matter, let's fucking chat, let me bring you into what I'm doing. Now those people, because 99% of people's experience on the internet is a comment section where someone's going, fuck you, bitch. So if I can be a beacon of like somebody going and having a positive kind of inclusive experience around something interesting that they think is interesting, like music or my music or whatever it is, I'm creating an army of people based on goodwill.
Yeah.
And that is something that artists don't get. If you can get a bunch of fans, all these other music industry collabs, all that shit will come to you. Because now you have some kind of point of leverage versus zero leverage whatsoever, and you're just begging. Oh my God, answer my email. Oh my God, please, can you collab with me? Check out my demo. Or, hey guys, I'm an artist that's grinding. Would you like to come be a part of it? Would you like to know what it's like? The answer is 99% so far from my experience has been yes.
Yeah. No, and you've gotten some sick collabs. Like, where I was going through the Spotify listening the other week while I was reading up, it's like, it's fucking a wild ride.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that, bro. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. But yeah, I hope that answers your question. I know it's a very, I went on tangent.
So while we have some more time.
Let's go. Please do. Let's.
Talk to me about creating content. What have you learned? Okay. You're really good at it. Like, tell me what's the sauce that you're willing to show.
This is what I want every artist to fucking hear right now. If there's one thing that I could tell all artists when it comes to creating content. Number one, complaining about creating content is not complaining about creating. Well, hold on. Complaining about creating content. Actually, this is my hot take. Complaining about creating content on a social media platform is content. So it looks like So it looks like you're a fucking content creator. Okay, this is what I always tell people. This is the irony. You just got 400 comments of people commiserating with how much content sucks. Look at you. You're an influencer. Yep. This is what I always say. Now imagine if you use that same kind of gusto into creating something that was talking about you and your art. Oh, well, it never matters. No, because you talk about your art in a boring fucking way. You talk about it in a way that like a used car salesman would fucking look down on you. They'd be like, get the fuck out of my face. You fucking, who the hell is this fucking creep? That's what I'm saying. But imagine if you use the same passion, the same like community kind of, I want to create a conversation around my art in like a positive way. You would get the same kind of people giving a shit about you. But instead, new song out Friday, stream my new song. Nobody gives a shit. Human beings are not a Spotify stream ATM. Human beings are not a Spotify stream casino. They can go, hey person that I didn't speak to for 6 months, you better come stream my, what is this? The Sopranos? This is like crazy, bro. So for me, so that's one thing. So that's one aspect. But number two.
And I want to endorse, if you don't entirely get this, watch your feed from the perspective of this. So the audience, like, go to his feed and literally watch, like, it's conversations around what he's doing, and that's exactly what works.
And then I guess the last thing I'll say here about this, so the part two, so that's number one. So all people complaining about content are content creators. I don't give a shit what they have to say, because look at this, all your shit gets 0 likes, and now you create a conversation now has 100 comments. You're a content creator, so shut the fuck up. Okay, so number two is the most gate-kept thing in music industry is this thing called distribution. It is the thing that they will nickel and dime anybody that has some kind of leverage, whether it's a Spotify playlist, whether it's a email blast, whatever promo list, or whether it's a fucking record label. The reason that those people have power and leverage and can expect money or make people, blah, blah, is because they have distribution. They have baked in eyeballs. If you want your own distribution, you need to make content, because content is not content. Content is, look how sexy and cool I am. I mean, it could be, but like that, however the hell way you want to do it, because content is free distribution, free-ish. It costs your time, but anything worth anything costs something, right? So if you can create a distribution channel via you consistently posting about yourself and people piquing their interest, so now you have a warm lead of a stranger on the internet to come and go, now part two, I see this guy all the time, I fuck with him, oh, he has new music out, now I'm more interested, versus this guy's just showing me his music, I fucking don't give a shit, get the fuck away, get off my feed, you're blocked. Now you have distribution, right? Because when a record label sends an email blast, not every single email is opened up, but it's that 1% of emails that open up that can change your life. It's the same thing with content. You can get 400 views. If one new person sees your stupid fucking face and your stupid fucking song, you won. You win. That's why for me, I don't let a day go by without posting, because every single post is a chance for some new person to go either, I fucking hate this guy, which is good. No, but seriously, which is good, because
if the self-select, get away.
If the window closes, at least I know not to try to open that window anymore.
Yep.
But if a window opens, now I have one new person that's part of my gang, that's part of my team, or maybe they're 2 more times seeing me away from being part of my squad. And that, to me, if I can just explain this to artists out there, you gotta just post something. Make it be authentic. Make it be you. What's authentic mean? It just means you're not selling something. At this point, my bar is so low for what is authenticity. Don't be asking strangers for something without them giving a shit about you. That's authentic. So to me, that's why content is important. It's distribution. It's your bid against the gatekeepers. It's how you fight against the gatekeepers. It's how you save money, potentially. Yep. And those seem to be like the 2 biggest issues for artists: gate-kept aspects of the industry and not having the finances. Well, here you have it. Here it is.
Yeah, you have the ultimate thing to throw through that window.
Here it is.
You've ever had.
Exactly. So yeah, so those are my very extremely long-winded explanations of those two aspects of it. But as you can see, I'm getting all worked up about it because it's changed my life, and as you can probably agree, I have conversations about this shit that goes nowhere because people don't listen to me. They think, oh, you're a shill for Mark Zuckerberg. Okay, bro, I don't know what to I don't know what to tell you, dude. I don't know what to tell you, So
yeah, it's that thing. I'm making my life better. I'm getting better friends. I'm connecting with people like you because I do this, and that's what I want from my life. That's if that makes me Mark Zuckerberg's buddy, sure, whatever you have to tell yourself to go to bed at night.
Exactly. Yeah.
Victor, I knew this was going to be great. I didn't know it was going to be this great. We have to do a part 2 because I could literally ask you a million more. So we're going to have to make that happen. Can you tell everybody where to find you? Tell them what to do.
I'm at Goshfather on Instagram. You know that I'm kind of like Instagram forward. That's kind of like my main thing on there. You know, I'm on Instagram threads at Goshfather. If there's any artists that hear this, I want you guys to know that my door is open. DM me if you have any questions. I do fucking Instagram audits. I love yapping about this shit. I love yapping about the music industry kind of side of it for up and coming artists almost as much as I love performing and making the music itself. So if anyone ever wants to reach out to me and talk to me about any of this stuff, I'll happily take a look at what you're doing. Happily give you some advice, especially if you're the dance music world, which is obviously my real expertise. I will happily, dude, if I go, whenever I go to like parties and stuff nowadays, I'm literally up until like wee hours in the morning talking about this shit in person with like random fucking, hey, I'm a DJ too, and I'll go and I'll talk their ear off with this shit because I want people to win. It's not as hard as it is difficult, but it's almost 99% mental. It's almost like you having to get out of your own way in so many ways, and I want to help people. My next show is this Friday in Salt Lake City. I'm playing a really crazy thing called Black Void, which is this crazy underground thing in Salt Lake City where they find like a random abandoned place and they bring in like full visual rave. Like it's going to be insane.
That's a very weird thing to do in Mormontown.
No, but dude, but doesn't it make sense though? You know what I mean?
That's crazy. You gotta have the antithesis. I spent a little time there, and it's a fucking weird town.
They love it, dude, but they go hard. So it's gonna be crazy. Gonna be playing Disco as a Weapon shit over there in Salt Lake City this weekend. But other than that, yeah, Instagram is the best place to find me, guys. If you guys want to reach out to me, and obviously, you know, my other thing is, you know, listen to Jesse. Listen to Jesse what he says. He'll never lead you astray. That's my other advice to everyone.